Shout out to Miss Butterscotch for sending me this story. And this story actually came out on January 22nd. And I didn't know anything about it until today. But since it's still fairly recent and it's a very rather interesting story, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. So you see in your screen a picture of a birth certificate. And the state of Virginia, or the Virginia Senate, has just recently passed a bill that will allow the T class to get new birth certificates. But it doesn't stop there. And before I jump the gun and say the wrong thing, I'm going to go ahead and read the article and you'll find out why I said this is just the surface for this thing right here. And this is coming out of Richmond, Virginia. And how much you want to bet that this was passed by a jackass, aka a Democrat? The Senate passed a bill earlier this week that will allow a person who changed their sex to have a new birth certificate issued, something that the T class said will help eliminate problems experienced when their legal identification doesn't match their transition. Senate Bill 657 would allow a person to receive a new birth certificate to reflect a change of sex without the requirement of surgery. That little part right there stuck out to me. Let me say it again. It would allow a person to receive a new birth certificate to reflect a change of sex without the requirement of surgery. So that basically means that if a person has not completed their transition, quote unquote, whether from woman to man or man to woman, they can still get a new birth certificate identifying as whatever they are currently about to transition into without the process being, I guess, completed. So that means if a person who is walking around here pretending to be a woman but still has the tool between their legs, they can go out and get a new birth certificate that will completely eliminate them ever having been identified as a boy or a man. Now they identify as a female while they have not completed the surgery. Do y'all see how sick that is and dangerous at the same time? Like, they're pulling out all the stops. And let me remind you, this is an election year. So you will have a lot of these political goofies doing all kinds of crazy stuff to appease to a certain group for votes. The individual seeking a new birth certificate also may list a new name if they provide a certified copy of a court order of the name change. So they can go out here and change their name and their sex on paper while still not fully transitioned to whatever it is that they are turning themselves into. I just think it's important to try to make life easier for people without being discriminated against or bullied, says Senator Jennifer Boysko, a Democrat from Fairfax. If I was a betting man, I would have won some money today. Allowing an individual who is transgender to change their birth certificate without having to go through with the full surgery allows them to live the life that they are due to have. I'm telling you, I said for them to be such a very small group, and when I say small, I'm talking about the T class. They had literally thrown themselves into a group within a group, a minority within a minority, I guess you could say. And they literally are getting all kinds of privileges that I don't think is going to really work out in the end. Because like when you think about it, they've gone from the driver's license, because that was the first stop. Now it's gone on to the birth certificate. So now they can go around and pretty much masquerade as whatever they're transitioning into and not be that person and still go ahead with their lives. Look at the video I just recently uploaded about the guy who was convicted of sexual assault of dozens of children who they have literally now given a slap on the wrist because now he identifies as a woman. This right here is going to be no different. It's just that now they're going to have it documented on paper on a birth certificate. Now, like I said, a birth certificate says whatever you are born at birth is what you are. They are going at their birth certificate as an adult and completely eliminating the one that they were born with to identify or put down that they identify as something completely different. Like I said, it started with the driver's license and now it has moved on to the birth certificate. I wonder what it's going to head to next. And they said they could change the name too. So if this person was born as Bobby and they wanted to transition into a woman and go by Barbara now, they can do that. And they didn't even have to get the surgery. That's what it said. They didn't even have to go through with the surgery. So this person is, let's just say it's Bobby. They could still be walking around looking like a man. But because one day they wake up and say, you know what? I'm going to identify myself as a woman. And I don't want to be called Bobby anymore. I'm going to be called Barbara. They can go right down to that office, get a birth certificate and say, look, my name is no longer Bobby. It's Barbara. I need a new birth certificate so you can trash that old one that I was born with years ago. And here's a new one. My name is Barbara so-and-so, born on this date, on this and this year, whatever. And I'm a woman, not a man. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? But according to them, they are due to live the life that they want, fabulous and free. I have no more words. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure if you haven't done so already to follow me on Twitter, have your notifications turned on, and I will talk to you in the next one.